Page 41, rock song. On page 40, we talk a little more about intervals. This is music theory we're getting into. We're going to build this up because it will help us to understand the music, which will help us to interpret the music, and in some cases play the music. And just follow along and learn what you can learn, I guess. We're still dealing with intervals of seconds and thirds in the book, and we have two different kinds. We have the kind where you can play the notes in the interval. You mean two notes. Remember, an interval is the distance between two notes. You can play the notes one at a time, or you can play the notes at the same time. Those are your choices. Well, if you play them one at a time, it's called a melodic interval. It's shown at the top of the page there. It's the first line. These intervals, look at the first measure there on page 40. You have a C and a D. Those are played one at a time. Those are melodic intervals. So we have a second, and then we have a third. It's a melodic interval, a melodic second, a melodic third. All that means. Think of a melody, where a melody is one note after another. Well, melodic interval is one note after another. That's all. Except there's only two notes involved. If you look at the bottom line there on page 40, you see that ugly looking thing where they're tied together here and here. They're played at the same time when you do this. We haven't really started playing notes at the same time now. Now we are. We've always just done one note at a time, and now you get to do two. But that's called harmonic because of the harmony. Harmony is when you can hear multiple notes at the same time. Well, you can hear harmony with a melodic interval like this. Even though I play those one at a time, I can still hear both notes at the same time in my head because of the way the brain works, you can still hear them. But as far as the name goes, that's melodic and that's harmonic. You may be reading about it or somebody talking about it, and if they mention these words, at least you may have some idea what they're talking about. Now, I want to point out here at the bottom of page 40, the last line there, the first measure, the C and the D, those are not directly above each other. Normally, when you play notes at the same time, they're directly above each other. Here, they can't because there isn't room. They have to overlap. They have to make them a little sideways, a little different. They're next to each other. You still play them at the same time because they both come on beat one, and that's the reason. If any note that comes on beat one, you play it on beat one. Now let's go over to page 41 for rock song. At the top of the page, we have a new symbol for you to learn, and I'm hoping you know the names of all these symbols we've had so far, and you know what they're for. If not, it's time to go back through the lessons again and review everything again. Don't be in a hurry to get through the book. It doesn't work that way. Take your time and make sure you're absorbing all of this. So that weird looking thing, that squiggly thing up there, it's called a quarter rest. It is the same thing as a quarter note, except instead of playing a note, you're quiet. You play a rest by being quiet. I use the term, play the rest. That means be quiet. It gets the same number of beats as a quarter note gets, I should say. In 4/4 time, it would get one beat. Means you're quiet for one beat, because music isn't just sound, it's also the silence. You got to take it all. Silence is just as important as the sound, and so we consider that too. Now, I'll go through the routine I use for learning a piece of music. I look it over, it's 2 lines long, treble and bass clef, 4/4 time signature. So there's 4 counts in a measure and a quarter note gets a count. Okay, I see quarter notes, half notes, and quarter rests. And then there's a repeat sign at the end, so it's 4 lines long, but we only have 2 lines of music to learn. And I see we got some notes where we're playing them at the same time. Well, got to talk about that because the technique's a little bit different. I should talk more about technique, but I don't. Remember, I said earlier in a previous lesson, I'm using weight to push the notes down. I'm just transferring weight. I'm basically walking on the keyboard with my fingers. I'm just transferring weight from finger to finger. I'm not holding the hand still and trying to use the fingers to push it down. I really don't recommend it. So at the beginning, you're just transferring weight. I have to lift up and back down and transfer weight. Well, when you get to 2 or more notes at the same time, the technique is a little different. They're using left hand, so I'll use left hand. You have these notes. All I'm doing is I'm actually lifting the hand up and putting it back down, gently, not way up and fancy, just up and back down for each of these, because I can't transfer weight on this one. I gotta come up and back down. So it's here, then here. Just try and connect them as best you can. And, ready for this? Might need to sit down now. Try and get the notes down at the same time. And that's the kicker. That's the hard part. You'll probably work on that from now on. I've heard professionals not do it on these things. Listen carefully. Are they down at the same time? Or is one note a little off? You can hear, if you're careful, that you say one note's just a hair first, and so try and get them down at the same time. And I'm lowering it. I just lower the fingers I want the weight to be on, and I lower the hand down each time. And I'm just switching fingers depending on what I need. Let's go through this and check the notes and all that. We start 4th finger on here, that puts you here. And when the left hand comes in, you see 2 numbers. Well, that's 1 for each note. The bottom number's first, that's the F, and then the here. So these are, so we're still in C position. And where it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to rest on these rests. You go through and work out the notes and the rhythms. And then go back through and make sure there's no hesitations anywhere. And again, you should be able to play this without looking at the keyboard. It's important. You want to develop the feel for the keyboard. Once I have that, then I think about the articulation. Here, they don't give us anything as far as articulation. There's no slurs, there's no nothing. That leaves it wide open. You can do it any way you want. I suggest go ahead and connect it except for the rest. You have to lift up for the rest. And the dynamics, well, it's F. Forte, that's loud. Whatever you think loud is. And in the 3rd measure, the F at the bottom, you don't need that. Because the F at the beginning applies all the way through. Just your F. Eventually, they will stop giving that to you. But I would like you to understand the way music is supposed to be written, you're not going to see that second F. Normally, you wouldn't see it. But you stay at that dynamic until they give you something else. Speed, well, brightly, well, that's like happily and the other. It's sort of moderately fast. Be happy. Brightly happy. 2. That's one way of playing it. Please don't copy me. I hesitate playing these for you because I don't want you to get in the habit of, well, play it for me, let me hear it first. I want you to be able to read the music yourself and figure it out and discover what it sounds like on your own. Then if you want to go compare it with what others are doing, fine. But you do it yourself first. Let's play this together slowly. We're not performing it, just checking notes and rhythms. And we will do the repeat. So I'll give us 4 counts. 1, 2, ready, go. 2, 1, rest, rest. 2, rest, rest. 2, rest, 2, rest, repeat, 2, 2, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 4, 2, 2, 4, off. Now there is a duet for this at the bottom of the page. I'd like to play that. So you play what we just played. I'm going to play the duet part at the bottom. I need you to go up an octave again. Remember, just pretend that middle C instead of here is up here. And instead of here, you're up here. And just play it all up here. Play it all up here. And we will repeat it. So I'll give us 4 counts. Keep in mind, and we'll speed this up quite a bit, so I'm like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to go that speed and see how you do. 1, 2, ready, go.